Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of TreyFlix. Today I am joined by my co hosts. That's right, co hosts, plural, Dave and Skyler. Say hello, guys.
Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
guys.
Today we'll be reviewing the movie Bullet Train, and there will be spoilers, so here's your spoiler warning. So we'll go into a little synopsis of the film. So, Ladybug is an unlucky gun for hire, and after a string of so called unlucky jobs, he attempts to do his job peacefully and at the suggestion of his new therapist, not to use firearms and whatnot. Fate, however, may have other plans as his latest mission puts him on a collision course with lethal adversaries from around the globe, all with connected yet conflicting objectives on the world's fastest train. So, when I first saw the trailer for this film, the one that I saw the most was where the two of them, Brad Pitt's character, and then the character Tangerine, are fighting in the food car portion of the train, and then they're interrupted by the attendant. And then after a brief pause and some witty banter from Brad Pitt's character, he chucks a water bottle at his head, and they continue to fight, which I thought was pretty funny. Um, and it just looked like any other action movie with like a little humor sprinkled in. And originally, I wasn't too interested in seeing this film, specifically not in theaters. I figured I'd wait till it came out on like a streaming service or like Prime, and I would rent it there. But then it just so happened that we needed a movie to watch after Nope, and then like this one was coming out, so we were like, "Fuck it, we'll go see it." And I'm really glad that I did, because it turned out to be way funnier than I had anticipated. So, what were your guys' thoughts after seeing the trailer? Dave, if you want to go first.
I don't remember watching the trailer. I just know that I saw that it was Brad Pitt and some of the other people in it,
Mhm.
and made by the people that did Deadpool, and I thought this could be
Fuck,
fun.
it was made by the people that did
Yeah,
Deadpool.
I didn't
Okay,
realize
Yeah,
that.
that
the
makes
second one.
a lot of sense now, and that'll cut into some points that I have later. But
And
I,
the
I was
same
unaware
director
of that. Nice,
as
nice.
Atomic Blonde as well.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
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 okay.
yeah, yeah. God, that was a good movie. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just gonna be like an action movie with a little bit of comedy sprinkled in. After seeing the movie now, I feel like it was more of a comedy movie with action sprinkled in, like kind of the
Right.
reverse of what I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, I just thought it was gonna be like another Brad Pitt movie, and I wasn't super interested in it, like you said. But then again, like we just had a movie, and we're like, okay, you know what? Let's go see this and do it for the channel. And yeah, I ended up having a lot more fun with it than I thought I would.
Yeah, I definitely laughed out loud a lot during that film. I know, Dave, you said you only laughed at one specific scene out loud, which we'll get into later. But like there are a few moments that like made me chuckle throughout this film, and it definitely I guess I should say, like, with my expectations being kind of low for it, like they were just blown out of the water, honestly. So from here, we'll go into some pros. Uh, so for me, number one, like it's an action-packed movie. It reminds me of a mix between like an old martial arts film, but with like a weird Deadpool-esque humor, with like the creative kills and stuff, which makes sense now that it was directed by the people who did Deadpool. It was extremely funny, from the way that the characters interact with each other, both during the fighting and like the moments in between. I feel like the comedy is done so well. Like there's, the quiet car scene where they're, fighting, and like the old lady's like, shh, and they're like, oh, hi. And then like his first interaction with one of the characters, the wolf, like he goes to step off the train and then just like immediately gets stabbed, and he's like, I don't even know you, bro. Like, who are you? So I thought that was very funny. The pacing is fairly good. kind of starts off slow with the grandchild being in the hospital bed, and like the deadbeat father or whatever, and then it slowly builds into this super cool intro sort of scene for Brad Pitt's character, where like he's walking down the streets of Tokyo and there are all these neon lights, and the Japanese version of Staying Alive is playing, and that just really sets the tone of kind of being like, oh, this is going to be like a weird, quirky, sort of funny movie with action sprinkled in. The visual and sounds, I think, are on point. The music, the cutaways, the title cards. The title cards are probably the best thing for me in this film, just because like every villain has a title card, and then like even like not characters have a title card, which we'll get into. Skyler, like I know that was a scene you really liked, was like the water bottle thing. So I'll let you talk more about that one. And then my final pro for this movie is just like I feel like all the characters are really well fleshed out and feel unique, despite all of them kind of having the same, profession, being guns for hire and whatnot. They all bring their own sort of like spark and uniqueness to the story, and especially Lemon and Tangerine. I think those are my two favorites from this movie so far. And honestly, if there was like a spin-off of just the two of them, I would hands down like watch that immediately. So from there, I guess I'll hand it off to Skyler if you want to go through your pros.
Yeah, so you saying the like title card stuff for all the characters. I thought that was fun, just like a quick introduction for every character that pops up on the scene, even if they're in the film for like 2 minutes. It's just like, hey, this is the Hornet or the Wolf or whatever. And I just thought it was fun to like show these characters off and then have them all just go at each other. Like I was saying earlier, with it being more like comedy than action, I thought it was just gonna be like bullet hell, like explosions, stuff blowing up every now and then and stuff. But there was a lot more like quirky banter and stuff. And even like you were saying, Lemon and Tangerine, there's a scene where it's the two of them doing a job. I don't remember where it was.
The
Bolivia, I
Bolivia, yeah,
think.
the Bolivia
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
but they're like counting all their kills and stuff, and they keep breaking the fourth wall and just like that's one, 2 kills, 3 kills. And I just thought it was really fun to watch that part. Like
Yeah, and
cracked
then
me the hell up.
and then at the end they're like, they gave a number of like 16 or something, and like they're arguing
Yeah,
about it because like, no, it's 15, no, it's 16, and like the last one is like some civilian, and then Lemon's just like, well, that one
that
wasn't our
was my
fault,
fault.
like that one isn't on us. And I thought that was super funny.
Yeah, overall, just like a fun movie to watch. Like just little moments here and there. Like you mentioned the water bottle scene. I think that was a fun one just because like there's a water bottle that Lemon has, and you don't think anything of it until like halfway through the movie, and then all of a sudden there's like a whole scene where they introduce the water bottle as like its own title card, and then the
Right.
whole thing is shot from like a GoPro of just the water bottle, and you see it go through all these scenes throughout the cars and stuff, and it was just fun.
Yeah, so like the water bottle, Brad Pitt's character Ladybug ends up putting like sleeping powder or something inside of it,
Yeah,
and Lemon ends up drinking it and like passing out, and then getting shot by I think their name is Prince is like the character, but it's like a
yeah.
female. Um, but yeah, and so like you think that he's like dead, which is a big spoiler, but still. Like a pretty big part of the film. But yeah, so like the GoPro shot goes through like them buying the water bottle, it like sitting on the train, Ladybug putting the sleeping powder in there, and then Lemon like drinking it and stuff, and then even up to the point of like it getting swept up off the floor and thrown into the dumpster.
Yep.
And it's just like the title cards and like the way it was edited is so well done in my opinion. It's probably like one of my favorite things about the film, just because like every title card does like a little like short backstory of the character that like gives you just enough information to get you up to speed of like what they do.
And why they're there and all
Yeah,
that.
and so I think that was like a really good thing. Like the wolf, you know, he is like a Mexican assassin or something like that, and like he works his way up through the cartel and like falls in love, and he's at like his wedding or whatnot, and Brad Pitt's character is there, and he's playing like a waiter and ends up bumping into him, and spilling like wine on his like white shirt or whatnot. So he's
His whole
pissed.
white
Yeah,
tuxedo.
he's like pissed off about that, and he goes to like scrub it off, and then like hears screaming, and like everybody at his wedding starts bleeding out of their eyes and like ends up dying. So then he like goes on this like killing rampage. He's like a drunk now, and he's just like, you know, find me the bastard that did this. Like I'm gonna fucking kill him. And so they eventually like give him, you know, like this envelope that has like his hit in it or whatnot. And so he's like shows up to the bullet train like wearing his like wedding dress like covered in wine and blood or whatnot, and like immediately like sees Brad Pitt's character and recognizes him and like stabs him, but like ends up stabbing his phone, and then just
Dude,
leads
you
into like a
stabbed him?
yeah, he's like what, and so it just leads into this really funny scene full of action where they're fighting in this car that has like it's like a lounge car, it's got like a bar and stuff. But yeah, it was really funny, and the title cards are really good. Definitely one of the high points of the film. Dave, what are your pros for this film?
The biggest pro I got from it was the fight choreography was really really well done, and especially to put it in the setting of train cars where it's such a tight, cramped space, to be able to pull off that kind of action and those kinds of fights in that tight space and confine it that way makes it even more challenging and exciting to watch. Um, Kind of like the fight from Kill Bill uh, in Michael Madsen's trailer home,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
where you get a lot of those things where the confined space really changes the way the fight goes just because uh, of that tight space that it's in. Um, then on top of that, I really enjoyed some of the how even though it was just this action packed thrill ride with a lot of laughs sprinkled in, that they also kind of threw in a subtle but still there kind of overarching theme of how, you know, sometimes your own perspective on things can be a bit skewed, and sometimes what you think of as being bad or bad luck is actually
good
what's
luck,
getting
or like
where
yeah,
you need to be, and is taking care of you and getting you through what you've got going on.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, I
so
know. Like you had
no,
said, like right after
so
we got
all
out
the
of the
better.
theater, you were like, you know, he bitches about being so unlucky, and yet everything ended up working out for him in the
Yeah.
end.
Right. I mean, just like when the wolf walks in and stabs him,
Like his
just happens
fucking
to hit
phone,
him right
yeah.
in his phone.
Mm,
Otherwise, he's toast, you know.
right, yeah.
Uh,
And like even
so
at the beginning of the movie, like he's on the phone with his handler and ends up stepping into a puddle of water, and getting his shoes wet, which makes him like step back from the curb, and he's like, God damn it, you know, like I'm so unlucky, but then almost also gets hit by a passing truck, but like doesn't even like
Like,
be like, oh, I
whoa.
could have died, you know. And so like it really just from the beginning sets up this theme of like, you know, I'm so unlucky, and he's like, you know, there was this other mission I was on, and I wasn't even supposed to kill anybody. I was just doing surveillance, and the bellhop from the
The
hotel
bellboy.
like tries to kill himself and like lands in the car. And the handler's like, yeah, but he survived and you drove him to the hospital. Like, so it's just that whole concept is super funny. And then I know, like, the only part that I know that you laughed out loud, Dave, was at the very end, when, like, after the train has crashed and like they've killed the White Devil or whatnot, the elder grandpa goes to like put his sword away and like ends up flinging blood on his fucking on Brad Pitt's like white shoes, and he's just like, come on, man,
Dude.
like that shit was so fucking
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, he'd just been sitting there with a gun pointed at his face, but it just happened to be the gun that was loaded to backfire, and
Yeah.
so the the White Devil, yeah, pulls the trigger, blows his own head off, and the guy takes his sword out and gets a little bit of blood on Brad Pitt's shoes, and he's just like, "What the hell?"
It's like, I'm
if he
so
didn't just-
unlucky.
Bro, come on.
Like he didn't have just a tiny little chance of surviving there, and but now he's got blood on his shoes.
Right.
It's
And
a
then
bad day.
and like even at the end there, like the handler shows up and they go to get in the car, and like a light pole ends up falling on the car and like electrocuting the car, and it would have like killed them both if they had gotten in. And then Brad Pitt's just like, karma, we shouldn't have gotten in the car. Like, this is, like what my therapist has been talking about this whole time.
It's a sign.
Yeah. And, like the funniest part about the movie to me is the fact that like Brad Pitt's character is like going through therapy and he's like talking to this guy, and this dude's doing the like whole therapy like spiel of like oh, like put like good karma out in the world, good karma will come back, and like maybe you should take like a different approach instead of like being violent and all this stuff. And he's just like talking back and forth with his handler about it. He's like, there are these like great like epiphanies that he's had. He's got like such a different outlook on life, but like at the same time, it's like still the same outlook on life that he had before. So it's so funny to me. And then the fact that like number one, like he wasn't even supposed to be on the train. Like it turns out, and this is like a big spoiler, so like if you guys haven't watched the movie, pause the video, go watch it, come back at this point, and you'll be all caught up, and we won't ruin anything for you. But basically, the White Devil has orchestrated it to where all of these people are on the train for a reason. And his biggest part is he wants, I think his name is like Carlisle or something, is like the agent.
Carver.
Oh yeah, Carver is the agent that's supposed to be working the job instead of Brad Pitt's character. And it escapes me what Carver did. I can't really remember what he did to like piss off the White Devil.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
Who does that?
But so this whole time the White Devil thinks that Carver's on this train, and like he set it up so that he can kill him in the end. And then it just turns out to be like Carver got like a stomach ache or something and called out sick. So like Ladybug got called in, from his, like time away, his sabbatical or whatnot. And he's like, oh, it's going to be like an easy snatch and grab job, like all this stuff. And then it turns out to be anything but. And then at the end, when he's talking to the White Devil, he's just like, bro, I'm not even Carver, man. Like, and the White Devil's like, what? So that just
Carver
really
was
funny.
the one that was driving the car that.
Oh yeah, that killed his wife.
Yeah, that killed his wife.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, like so, like he meant for like his son to die, because like his son ends up getting poisoned by the hornet, but like the hornet's there to poison his son. Like it's all these things that he's orchestrated, and then Prince turns out to be his daughter, and her whole like purpose of being there is like prove to her father that like she can do something, and so like she sets off to like kill her dad, because she's got daddy issues clearly. But yeah, and then like
She was never part of his
yeah,
plan.
right. So like in the end, like she's still like, you know, I guess given the cold shoulder by her father, and that leads up to like
That's a,
her death inevitably.
yeah, it's all right. She gets hit by a tangerine
By a
truck.
tangerine truck,
Green truck.
which is really
Being
funny.
driven by Lemon.
Being driven by Lemon. So like I will say like it kind of plays with your emotions for a little bit, because once once Lemon drinks the sleeping powder and like passes out, Prince shoots him. And like there's this whole spiel earlier in the movie about how, like Tangerine is like lecturing Lemon on like he should be wearing a bulletproof vest and all this stuff. So like you assume that like he dies. And so Tangerine goes through like, a good third of the movie thinking that Lemon is dead, and then ends up accidentally dying from Brad Pitt's character in the end. And then it turns out that Lemon's still alive, miraculously, because he was wearing a bulletproof vest. And so then, like, despite being pissed at Brad Pitt's character, like the two of them team up to survive the rest of the train ride. And there's this funny scene where they've kind of bonded at the end and they're trying to stop the train. And, Brad Pitt's character is like, sorry. Lemon's character is like, sorry, I shot you, to Brad Pitt's character, because there was like this thing in Johannesburg that they cut back to where Lemon shoots Brad Pitt's character twice.
Twice.
And so after that, Brad Pitt's just like, yeah, sorry, I killed your brother. And then Lemon's just like, it's cool, I got a new brother now. And Brad Pitt's like, oh, really? And then Lemon's like, fuck no, and jumps out of the goddamn train. And I thought that was super fucking funny. And then like the whole Thomas the Train thing with the two of them.
Yeah.
God,
Diesel.
So he's got this pack of stickers, and they all have like the different characters from Thomas the Train, and he's going through saying, like there are different character like personalities and whatnot for each one of them, and so he's labeling them off, and it's like a recurring theme throughout the movie. But like diesels are the worst of the worst, and so like he's calling like Brad Pitt's character, yeah, he's like calling Brad Pitt's character a diesel in one scene, and Brad Pitt's like, I'm not a diesel, you're a fucking diesel. So it's a very funny movie. There's a lot of good humor sprinkled in, a lot of like exposition and stuff that explains and like sets up for funnier moments throughout the movie, which I thought was really cool. From here, I think we'll go into cons. I don't really have much. There's not really any complaints that I had about this film. I would say one of the few is, the runtime. It's a 2-hour long film. And like I think it could have been shorter. There was like a lot of kind of fluff to it, but it's done in a way that like makes it to where it doesn't really feel like it's a 2-hour long film, so it kind of works out for itself in the end. And then like there's this one scene that just really kind of pisses me off, but like I get it from like the perspective of Brad Pitt's character. Like it's at the end, like everybody else is off the train except for the people that the White Devil like wants to be on there. Brad Pitt's got the briefcase. He's exited the train. It's like the last stop before like Kyoto, which is their final stop. And he's with Prince, who's like pretending to be this, like shy, like good, like innocent girl or whatnot. And her bag just happens to get like stuck on one of the chairs. And so the thing with the bullet train is like you've got 60 seconds at each stop, and then like the door shut and it's gone. And so he's like, come on, like, we got to go. He's like, leave the backpack. And she's like, I can't, like, I really need it. And he's like, come on. And she's like, no, just get back on the train. Like, really, like, I don't want to be alone and all this shit. And then, like, he eventually gets back on the train. And as he does, like, she miraculously gets her backpack unhooked, which was her plan. But for me personally, like I'd have been like, "Fuck you! Like you stay on the train, I'm going."
I gotta go.
Like sucks to
I'm on the
suck,
job.
But with him being like reinvented or whatnot, obviously like he doesn't want to leave like an innocent person there, even though it turns out to be one of the bad guys. But obviously he doesn't know that at the time. But that's all I got for cons. Dave, you got any cons?
Yeah, really the only complaint I have is that some of the cutaways were a little. Sometimes they were a little excessive with some of the cutaways. Uh, just going away and showing footage from the Bolivia job multiple times
Oh
throughout the
yeah.
movie was not necessary. Like they go through the whole thing of showing like what happened there, but then every time it comes up, they cut away to show them there. Like that's not
Right.
necessary at that point.
And I forget like what was the whole thing with the Bolivia job, like because that's why he brought the two of them on there, was
And
specifically because of that job, but like something went wrong with it.
right,
I don't
right.
remember what it was
Well,
though.
they killed a bunch of his guys, and then he had to go and
Oh
uh,
yeah, he had to go do the job himself,
he
that's
had to
right.
go deal with
Which is why he
the
wasn't
mess
there with his wife, because his wife was going
when
to pick up his deadbeat son out of jail or some shit. Okay,
right.
yeah, there we go.
So, so all of these things led to his wife dying,
Mhm.
but the it was just the going back to it multiple times could have been avoided.
A little bit of overkill.
Yeah, but I mean, even that's just a minor complaint, really. Otherwise, it's really a very fun and entertaining movie.
Skyler, any cons?
Yeah, I really don't have much to say either. I think it would have been cool to see more from some of the people who got killed, like right off. Like they introduced the wolf, kind of did his backstory, and then he died in that first scene on the train.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happened with the Hornet. Like she showed up, like got introduced, and then died almost immediately again. Like I kind of would have liked to see more from all of the characters doing their own things on the train, but I know that would have made the runtime so much more longer, and it's
Right.
whatever. It's not a big complaint, but I just would have liked to see a little bit more from everybody.
I, I,
Yeah,
I will say though, like, despite the, not getting to see like more of them, like that's why I think it would be cool to see some like spin-off movies of like just those characters, which I doubt that they would ever do, just because I think that would be kind of cheesy at this point. But going back to like the scene with the Hornet, like she kills using like snake venom, like a certain venom that like makes your eyes bleed and stuff. So it turns out like she was the one who um, killed everybody at the wolf's wedding, and whatnot, and like that was the person that he was there to kill, and just so happened to run into Brad Pitt's character and tried to kill him. Um, but like the Hornet injects Brad Pitt's character with the venom, and you've got like I think it's like 30 seconds or something before you die or whatnot, and the Hornet's character like has the anti venom, and so Brad Pitt ends up like also injecting her with the venom, so then she has to like use the antidote, and she goes to like pull the antidote out, and then Brad Pitt immediately like injects himself with it, and then she's like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he's like, "What? You don't have a spare? Like, what the fuck? Like, you're not
this
planning
brings
ahead?"
me.
And so then, like, she ends up dying, but like she's like crawling around on the floor, like bleeding out of her like eyes and mouth and ears and shit. And he's just like, "Is there anything I can do for you? Like, can I get you a water? Can I hold your
Do you need a
hand?" Like,
blanket?
just like trying to be like this caring individual. He's like, "I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to kill you." It's just it's such a contrast between like what his character is supposed to be, and then like now he's like, "Oh, I've had a change of heart because of like therapy, and like I'm trying to like turn my life around, but like I'm gonna stay in this profession where I'm supposed to kill people." And it's the funniest concept to me. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why this movie works so well. So from there, if nobody has anything else, I guess we can go into our final thoughts. So for me, the film was great. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. The action and comedy are done so well together. Like they're almost like in tandem, like a dance. It was super fun to watch. Again, I'd love to see, another film take place in this universe, or just like another film like this, because like it was that good. And for my expectations being so low, this like it just blew it out of the water. It's probably the best film that I've seen this year, and so for that, I would give it a 5 out of 5. So it's probably this is the first 5 out of 5 that I've given since we started doing these. But yeah, I definitely would recommend going to see it. It's very funny, action packed, and it's just a good time. Dave, final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I thought it was a very good movie as well. Very solid action thrill ride all the way through. Um, had a good story overall. It was nice to see a movie that's an original IP as opposed to a reboot or a sequel or or a superhero movie.
Yeah.
So
Let's get a little oversaturated with those ones.
Always a bit refreshing to have some new IP thrown out into the universe, and I'd give it a solid 4.23 out of 5.
Okay.
It's not a perfect movie, but it's very good, and I look forward to it popping up on some streaming services so I can see it again.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I'd gotten to go see it again before we did this review, just because like it's been exactly a week now since we first saw it, and my memory isn't what it used to be, and a lot of things happen in a week, so obviously
one too many gummies, right?
Yeah. But from there, Skyler, final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 4.5 because it was definitely a lot better than what I was expecting. Like you were saying, my expectations were super low going into it. I think it was a very strong performance from the whole cast, and so that's always a plus. Some of the shots were just done really, really well, and so like having very minor gripes about it and stuff, and I don't know. I just thought it was a really good movie, fun to go watch, and like Dave said, I'm excited to go see it again, and obviously waiting until it's on streaming stuff like that too. But yeah, I'd give it a 4.5.
All right, it's probably the highest rated movie that we've done so far for this.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. All right, well, I guess that will wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow the Super Clash Twitter and my own personal Twitter, TreyFlix, which will both be down in the description below. Other than that, I hope everyone is doing fine. I'm fairly all right. Skyler?
Doing well.
Dave?
Yep.
All right, well, that'll do it for us. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.